Questions and comments. The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank my colleague for his speech. I want to ask for his views about the concern I'm hearing from many of my constituents of people driving while high. And in particular, the concern is about the reliability of the testing that exists. We know that for driving while impaired by alcohol, there's well-established ways of testing people's blood alcohol levels and precisely correlating levels of impairment with the blood alcohol level. The technology is simply not there with regards to impairment by marijuana because the substance works differently, because it's fat soluble as opposed to water soluble. There isn't the same clear, reliable way of testing impairment on the basis of something like levels in blood. So is the member concerned that with the government's rush to legalization, that we don't actually have the capacity to effectively assess impairment and respond to it in order to ensure that people are safe on the roads?
The other honourable member for South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the member for that excellent question, and that's precisely my concern with roadside testing for marijuana, which we heard all about in Bill C-46. In the Justice Committee, we heard testimony from expert witnesses that said, as he said, the level of THC in the blood that you're measuring with these roadside tests has absolutely nothing to do with impairment. The amount of THC goes up in the blood. It's only when it's out of the blood that it's in your brain that it's actually making you impaired. So these tests have no relation with impairment, and that's a real difficulty. We have to find a new way, a different way for measuring impairment with THC than we do with alcohol. As he said, with alcohol it's very different. The amount of alcohol you have in your blood is highly correlated with the amount of impairment. But it doesn't work that way with marijuana, and I think you will see, as I mentioned in my speech, groups that will be battling or fighting Bill C-46 in court over just this issue. People will be getting charged for being impaired when they're not impaired at all.
Questions and comments. The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan, 30 seconds and then a 30-second answer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Safety while driving is one concern. Another concern I'm hearing from industry as my riding is the impact on workplace safety. Again, without the reliable mechanism for testing impairment, if you legalize marijuana, there's significant concerns about people working on industrial job sites while impaired and the impact on others. I wonder if the member shares those concerns. Safety while driving, yes, but also in an industrial context and in the workplace in general.
The honourable member for South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Well, again, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks for that question. I think it's a similar situation. We have people, there's great concerns about people on work sites now that might be impaired, but if we use these methods for testing blood levels of THC, people who use marijuana regularly will show up as being impaired when they're not. They're totally capable of doing the work. So we have to come up with new ways of testing impairment to look at this problem. The method that we use for alcohol, it just will not work at all.
Resuming